One challenge to Africa's capacity to feed her people is the effects of global climate change. Gerald Nelson is a senior research fellow at the Washington-based International Food Policy Research Institute.
There are some parts of the world that will do better with climate change that we're expecting. With places that are cold now where the temperatures are rising, places that are dry now where they will actually see more precipitation. But there are a lot of places for which the changes will be negative. At least that's the expectation. And so we need the second key point coming out of these briefs is this need for adaptation to the coming climate change.
There has to be some discussion to generate the information that will help countries adapt to the changes that are going to take place. Right. What has to be done? What needs to be involved and included in this kind of discussions and negotiations in order to achieve those objectives?
Well, the first thing is to recognize that there are some things that we can do even if we're not exactly sure the kind of climate change effects in a particular country. Because in some sense, a lot of the political decisions and the decisions on how to adapt have to be done at the country level. So the things that we can do right now are to help people become more resilient. And probably the best way to do that is to have them have higher incomes. Good development policy that leads to higher growth, that's even with incomes that are distributed more evenly across the whole economy, will go a long way to helping countries get ready for climate change adaptation.
There are others who actually say that the impact of climate change on agriculture may not be felt as severely in some countries because a great number of countries now, their GDP is not determined so much by their agricultural productivity, but other sectors that are now becoming vibrant and growing. Should that be the general trend in order to ensure that the future is not determined so much by how this agricultural sector fares in a particular country?
I think we need to step back and look actually beyond climate change and recognize that between now and 2050 there will be about 50% more people in the world than there is today. Those people will be located predominantly in what we call the developing world today. We hope it's not the developing world anymore by 2050, that these people will have higher incomes and they'll demand and want to have much better quality food and quantity of food. So we have to prepare to feed that additional number of people at the same time that we're also going to have to deal with climate change. So just because economies grow and other sectors grow faster does not reduce the importance of focusing on the agricultural sector.
I'm thinking about certain specific regions, say a country like Kenya, which I'm very familiar with, has a part of the country very dry, in fact semi-arid in the northern part of the country, and other parts of the country are fairly lush green and receive enough rainfall. How can a country like that ensure that it can utilize the resources that it has agriculturally in order to kind of offset the disadvantages that come with regions that are extremely dry?
Generally, making markets work better means that what's called autonomous adaptation, in other words, people adapting without help from the government, can function more easily. So better markets, more infrastructure, good roads make it possible for farmers to get goods to the marketplace and for inputs to get to the farming community, whatever those inputs are as climate change becomes more evident. In some parts of Kenya, and this is really depends on where you are in Kenya, the implementation of more irrigation systems, both large-scale systems potentially, but also small-scale, just water catchment systems. And then things like conservation agriculture, where you encourage farmers to leave plant material on the field after they've harvested the stuff that we eat or we feed to animals, and to use the right kinds of nutrients so that there's more soil organic material. Makes the crops grow better, makes them the soil hold water better, keeps nutrients there. A variety of things that we need to start on now to get farmers to begin to do so that when climate change comes, they'll be ready.